how can picture books become a tool for SEL is the conversation. So there are a host of picture books now available in the Indian market. Parag that I work with also has this initiative called Parag on a List, where we actually handpick through an independent jury some of the best books that is available every year. And picture books form a large part of that on a list. So if you look at these books, of course, there is no sacrosanct list. There are books coming out, and many books which otherwise may not look like a book that is specifically dealing with SEL can be used in the classrooms for the process of SEL, and I'll tell you how. So like, for example, My Many Colored Days by Dr. Seuss, or Oliver Jeffers' another book called the Crayon's Book of Feelings, or How I Feel, which is a Pratham book. All these books directly talk about the vocabulary of building the vocabulary of feelings and emotions. They're pretty direct in terms of building an understanding of what emotions are. Of course, these diverse emotions that we feel. Many Colored Days is a book that I've extensively used to talk also about mixed feelings. Sometimes you're sad and angry at the same time, and these are mixed feelings. So one of the things I worked with when I work with children is there's a ritual every time that they would start off with, where they were all given a small sheet of paper, and they would use a color to just express what color they feel that day. And sometimes it's a green, sometimes it's a yellow. There is no rule as to whether a green means good or yellow means bad. It's just an expression of what they feel that day. And sometimes it's a combination of brown and black and blue and all of that. The fact that they are feeling pretty confused inside. They're not able to name their emotion, but that's how they're feeling, and they're able to embody it and put it out and see and witness what is happening in their heart. And this would happen multiple times every day as I work with the children. And at the end of it, they actually would have a whole bunch, like the whole month of colors through which we build other artwork. Those become inputs to build other artwork. So, and for then the children to stand back and look at the various kinds of emotions they've felt through the month. It's an interesting exercise to do, because they know that some days they felt happy, some days they felt sad, some days they felt angry, some days they felt confused. But they know that it all passed. And that, I think, at some point, when children do realize that even bad days pass, it's a good realization. And it's come out in sharings that day I felt very bad, but then the next day I was feeling this. So it's great to know that some of these bad days will also pass. Can we move to the next slide, Pallavi? Some of these are books that you'll encounter, like this one. I already have a copy. This is a book, A Line in Paris, which is a great book to talk about fear. Don't very directly talk about emotions, but they all have a component of helping a child deal with emotions. Some of them more directly, like I spoke about Andy, or some of them more indirectly, like this very old story of Annie Besant, Sam's Christmas Present, is an interesting example. It's a story about a child, maybe a 4-year-old child, on a treasure hunt for his Christmas present, which he knows his mum has hid somewhere. And the whole book is about the different places he goes and searches this book under the table, over the shelf. He is struggling to see where his present may be, but he sees his sister's present, he sees his brother's present, he sees his cousins, everybody else's, but not his. And then he finally finds his present, but he knows it's not the Christmas day. So he basically decides that he will not open the present that day, but he'll wait for Christmas to open it with the others. Now, this is a great story to tell and narrate anyways, but it also is a story about self-management and self-regulation. So there are many times that it's not direct, that the story is not directly about an emotion, but the story's narrative is such that it brings these elements, and they can be very powerful tools to be used in the classrooms and through extension activities that arts-based, then that's great as well.